Every beginner who gets hold of a camera thinks everyone is shooting in manual. But that's a very big lie. If you're a beginner and you are not so comfortable with manual, just know that there are even better options for you aside auto, which many people shoot in, that will work for you in many of the situations that you find yourself in. And in this video, I don't think you should force yourself to shoot in manual yet. Manual is great, but in this video I'm going to show you the mode that you should be using if you're just starting out with photography and you're not really so sure. Let's jump straight into the video. So when I really got started with photography and I got hold of a camera, I started with auto because that was the easiest thing to do, all right? Just pick up the camera and then you shoot. But as time went on, I needed more control over what I was shooting and how the pictures were coming out. Because the thing with auto is that when you take it at auto, it's going to control all the three elements on the exposure triangle. You can take hold of ISO, but it's going to control your shutter speed and your aperture, which usually, I think even auto takes control of everything, which usually can be good, but it doesn't allow you the creativity to get some type of pictures that you want. For instance, if you want a long exposure image, it won't work. And if you also wanted to shoot a little darker than you want so that you can get enough chance to be able to maybe capture a lot of the highlights, you might not also be able to get with auto. So the next thing was I was exploring which other mode to go. Most beginners think that if you have a camera, by all means you should shoot in manual. I would advise that if you have been able to build yourself up to that level where you know what the various settings are on the camera and how to shoot, that's fine. By all means, shoot in manual. But if not, I would recommend that you shoot in Aperture Priority right here. This is a Sony a6700, a very good camera. I'm going to just demonstrate something quickly here. When you go to Aperture Priority, which is A, if you're on a Canon camera, it might be AV. If you're on a Nikon, I think it's also A or so. Whatever it is, just know that something with A is the Aperture Priority. All right. If you go to the Aperture Priority, what happens is that the camera takes control of the shutter speed and then allows you to control only one thing. That is the aperture. It's almost like shooting in auto, just that now the camera takes charge of the shutter speed and you don't have to worry about what shutter speed I should shoot in. The camera would, just like in auto, it would assess the scene and then it will give you the best shutter speed for you to get an okay lit photo for whatever subject that you are shooting. And the reason why I think this is way better than auto is that with auto, the camera controls the shutter speed and controls your aperture. You don't really get to frame certain things the way you want it to be, all right? Because you know that if you use a very low aperture, you can get so much blur, all right? That is if you are using depending on the type of lens that you are using. The lower the aperture, the higher the blur you get in the background, and also the more light that comes in, all right? So if I want to take a photo with just one of a model, just one person, I want to try as much as possible use the lowest aperture that I can use. That gives me more light and then gives me more bokeh or more background blur. But if you are in auto is just trying its best to keep your image evenly lit based on what is happening around. So sometimes auto might use a very high what's the name of the aperture, which you don't really want just because it's trying to give you an okay image. If you shoot in Aperture Priority, all you have to think about is how much of the subject do I want in focus. That is all you think about, and then leave the camera to do the thinking for you when it comes to the shutter speed. Yes, and also allow the camera to take care of the ISO. That is, you put that auto ISO and the camera will take care of the ISO. But then I would always control my ISO because sometimes it can go overboard. If you have just one subject and you want only one subject in focus, you just set your aperture very low and then you shoot. Aperture Priority will do you so much good. If you're shooting on a group photo, you just increase your aperture up and then you are good to go. If you are shooting, what's the name of that? A single person, or you want less in focus, you just use a lower aperture and the camera takes care of the shutter speed and even the ISO for you. If you do this, you will be better off than just shooting in automatic. The art of retouching lies so much on your mixer brush setting and how you're able to use the mixer brush. I made a video right here. Yeah, check it out. I go deep into how to use the mixer brush and even most importantly, the right settings to get the best out of your mixer brush. Check that video out and I'll catch you in the very next one. Peace.